It is mid-January, and if you're a property owner in the Municipality of Anchorage, you have probably already received the green card. What that means is the municipality has assessed the value of your property, and if the value they have given you is above what it actually is worth, you could potentially be paying thousands of dollars more in property taxes than you need to. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to appeal the assessed value of your property, if you should so choose, and you're also going to gain access to a free service that could potentially save you thousands of dollars in property taxes. As a local realtor, I do work with quite a few buyers and sellers. One of my buyers from this past summer just received his green card in the mail. The assessed value is actually just about $50,000 above what he actually paid for it, which means potentially thousands of dollars more in property taxes than is necessary. So that's why we decided to make the video today, to make sure that everyone is informed about what the appeal process looks like so you're not overpaying. But first, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I know whether or not I need to be providing more information like this that's going to be of value to you. First off, how exactly do the appraisers assess the value of a property anyway? What they do is they actually look at the comparable homes that have sold in the area in the recent past. So Alaska is a non-disclosure state. So what that means is typically the assessor is going to be kind of shooting in the dark, trying to figure out the value of the property. Because just because the property down the street sold for $250, he's not necessarily going to know that. So this usually comes out in the benefit of the homeowner, because if you have a property that has a market value where you actually bought it for around $300,000 and the assessed value is around $250,000, you're actually going to be paying less taxes because property value is not disclosed. Now, Juneau is actually talking about going over to a disclosure status, which could potentially result in more taxes. I'm not sure whether or not that's going to set a precedent for the rest of the state, but that's going to be a topic for a future video. So obviously then, the idea is to not have a property that has a higher assessed value, because you're taxed based off of the value of your property. If the municipality says that your property is worth $400,000, then guess what? They're taxing you off of that. And the market value of the property, what someone might actually pay for it, might only be $300,000, $350,000. So you're paying a lot more taxes than you need to if you're in a situation like that. So if you've received your green card, which they were all mailed out on or before January 15th, you should have gotten it by now, check your mail, it's in there probably, then you need to go and look at the assessed value. If you see a big swing upwards and it looks like you might be paying, it might be suddenly a lot more valuable than you thought before, this is the time you need to start looking at this process to see if you're paying more than you need to in order to make sure that we can change that. So step one, you've received the green card in the mail and you've got a pretty good feeling that this is higher than it needs to be. What you do at this point is call up the assessor's office quick, because you have got 30 days in order to make the appeal. The quicker you do it, the more likely it is you can get it resolved without a whole lot of ink being spilled. So call quickly. Don't be the person on the very last week that they are trying to deal with these assessments that's trying to get this done, because it's going to be pretty painful. Get it done quickly, okay? I'd say immediately after you're done with this, call them up, see if you can get it taken care of quick. Now let's say you weren't able to get it resolved over the phone. Now it's time to start going and making that formal appeal. Now when you do it, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to have an appraiser from the assessor's office with a municipality that's going to be assigned to you. Number two is you're going to have to pay a refundable deposit in order to get this process kicked off. Information about how much you can expect to pay for the refundable deposits right over here. And you're going to need to fill out the real property appeal form. Let's go ahead and go over how you go about doing this real quick. Now there are a couple things I want to emphasize right off the bat. Number one, the municipality is not going to consider the following as being sufficient reasons to not assess the property where it's at. They are not going to accept that your taxes are just too high and therefore you shouldn't have to pay them. That's not sufficient grounds for contesting or appealing the value of your property. You can't say your value changed too much in 1 year or you just can't afford the taxes. Those are not going to be considered sufficient grounds to appeal the value of the property. And you also can't appeal the mill rate, in other words, the percentage at which your property is being taxed. If you want to do that, then you need to do so in the next election, but can't really do anything about the mill rate at this stage. There are a couple other things about this I want to point out. Number one, the appellant in the state of Alaska carries the burden of proof to show that the property is not worth what the municipality is saying it's worth. In other words, the burden's on you. If you can't show that the property is not what they say it's worth, then they're going with their value they have on the books automatically. So the burden of proof is on you. Secondly, the person who is filling out the document must be the person who is on title. If you don't own the property, you can't fill out an appeal for a property that you don't own. Additionally, any additional evidence when you're filling out this form must be submitted within 15 days after the appeal period. So you get it in the mail, okay? You get your green card in the mail. You've got 30 days to make the appeal. After the 30 days, you've got 15 days to supply any additional evidence. Now, the million-dollar question I'm sure everyone is wondering right now is, what evidence does the municipality consider authoritative? What information do you need to provide that's going to make the municipality decide your property's not worth as much as they say it was initially? I'm going to get to that, but first, if this video has been useful for you up till now, smash that thumbs up button for me and leave me a comment in the section that says lower taxes. For residential properties, your gold standard as to what the Assessors Office is going to consider strong evidence that your property is not worth as much as they initially said is going to be to show them how much similar properties in your area has sold for recently. Now remember, we said Alaska is not a disclosure state, which means that that information is not just floating around on the web out there, okay? What that means is you're going to be able to, through some of your searches, you might be able to find how much they were asking for the property. You're not going to be able to see how much it actually sold for. And sometimes they're drastically different. If you need help finding out what similar properties actually sold for recently, we'll get to more of that in a couple minutes. Other things they're going to look at as well are the building characteristics. Is it falling apart now? Was there some big catastrophic event that happened, i.e. an earthquake that came through and just destroyed the place? Are there land characteristics? Did it get flooded out and now you've got all these other issues you're suddenly dealing with and the characteristics of the land are different? These are going to be the kind of things they are going to look at as real, concrete, bona fide evidence that the value of the property isn't what they thought it was initially. Now, if we've done our homework and we've been thorough in the evidence that we have presented, 75% of the time you're going to get some kind of form back that says withdrawal appeal form from the appraiser that was assigned to you. They're going to have, after reviewing the evidence, they'll give you some value on there after reviewing the evidence at which they believe the property now assesses at. 75% of the time, like I said, that's the end of it. The homeowner is happy with it, they sign it, that's the end of it. You get your refundable deposit back, and we're all good to the next tax year. Say you've gotten the withdrawal appeal form and you're still not happy with the value that the municipality says your property is worth. What do you do at this point? Well, it's time to kick it up a couple notches and it's time to appeal it to the Board of Equalization. Now, what is the Board of Equalization? Well, it kind of sounds like something from the Hunger Games, but essentially what it is it is a group of private citizens and local professionals in the area that is appointed by the assembly to come in and essentially judge these valuation appeals that are brought before them. They do not work for the municipality. They are assisted by the Assessor's Office. They do not work for them though. That's an important distinction. Board of Equalization will not be meeting until March. And it's really hard to say exactly when you're going to get scheduled because it has to be scheduled out with them. They also are people too, and they've got other things going on. Now, you will usually get a notification about 2 weeks ahead of time that you are going to be appearing before the Board of Equalization. Now, when you go in, you're not going to have the ability to present any new evidence, okay? This is a testimony that you're going to be giving, and it is open to the public, okay? So you're going to go in. This is just kind of an idea for how the room is going to be set up. You've got this little spot over here where you're going to be sitting, and you give your testimony, okay? They're going to swear you in and everything. It's going to be the legitimate deal. Board of Equalization will determine the value of your property at that point. Now, once they have that, they're going to send it off to the Assessor's Office, and it's going to be good for a year. The next Board of Equalization, if this comes up again, where suddenly next year you're in the same spot where your taxes are higher again, the Board of Equalization of that year are not bound to honor the decisions made from the last board. So keep a close eye on the taxes if this comes up again. Now, what if you are still not happy with the result that you got? At this point, it is time to file it with the Superior Court. And you've got to do that within 30 days of the board decision. So as you see, you got to keep moving here pretty quick. There's very specific timelines, and you need to make sure that you're staying within that. Closing, I've got 2 things I really want to emphasize. Number 1, you have got to stay on top of the deadline here. Most people are going to say they're going to do this, like, yeah, we're going to go in there, we're going to appeal this thing, and we're not going to have to pay as much taxes, and they forget about it, and it will never happen. So if you're going to do this, I say act now while it's still fresh on your mind, or you're just going to forget it. Quite frankly, the thousands of dollars that you can save just by going through this process is the most money you're probably going to make dollar per hour for the rest of the year. Okay, so let's knuckle down and let's do a little work and get this taken care of. Number 2 is, I mentioned before that the best way for you to come in there and have that strong evidence right off the bat, that's probably going to be just a clincher for you, is to be able to show that you've done your research, it's thorough, and you know the comparable properties in the area to show them this is the value of the property based on this one that sold at this date under these terms, okay? That's gonna be the clincher. That's what you need to quickly get this taken care of. And because it is tax season, I, as a real estate licensee, am willing to assist you in that at no charge for you because, like I said, it is tax season. If you are needing help with this, or you're at least interested to see what the value of your property is compared to what the assessor said it's worth, I've got a link down below in the comments. I need you to go ahead and just click on that, fill it out real quick, and I'll get back to you usually within about 24 hours, if not sooner, and we'll set up a time where we can figure out what the value of your property is and see if we can save you a little bit of money on taxes this year. Even if it doesn't look like it's just glaringly overpriced, I would still recommend go ahead. I'm doing this anyway, going ahead and doing it. And the reason for that is sometimes the market shifts under your feet and you're not aware of it. So let's just be a little proactive and make sure that you're not overpaying on anything, okay? Like I said, it's a free service. Why not? Thanks for watching. For more information about the local real estate market, or to receive more information like this about the municipality that's in a more digestible format, Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. You hit that little bell right over there so you do receive notifications when I do create more content. And make sure that you follow my Facebook page, which is in the description section down below under this video. Additionally, if you have topics or issues that you want to have covered, maybe something involving the municipality or a process or something like that, make sure you leave the suggestion in the comment section down below so I know best what content I need to be creating that is relevant to you.